Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to cover the Teams to Teams migration demo. We will cover important steps to remember and things to note throughout the migration process. With that being said, let's get started. First, you're going to log into your MigrationWiz portal. You're going to go to your projects and you're going to click Create a New Project. Select Collaboration Project, as this is the Teams to Teams piece. You're going to create a project name and then select your customer. Now, note here that on the source and destination endpoints, I've previously created those here within MSP Complete. If you've not done that yet, you would actually just click on New here and select the teams in the drop-down menu and then populate the information. I'm going to go ahead and select my source, and then I'm going to go ahead and select my destination. Now you'll note that on those two endpoints, source and destination, this Office 365 user here doesn't say global admin. That's because it's no longer required. With the Teams piece on source and destination, we support application permissions. So you can either use the Teams read-only application permission on the source or the Teams full control application permission through the UI. That is on the source and destination. This gives us the ability to bypass needing a global admin to migrate. And setting up that process is really simple. You're just going to create an Office 365 group in your tenant. Here I have an example tenant. I've created an Office 365 security group named MigrationWiz, and that user with a Teams license needs to be included in that group. So you can see here I've opened up the group, and then that member of that user is the same one listed in my source and destination endpoints. Doesn't have to be the same user in source and destination, but just as long as you have that user included in the security group. So that setup process is easy, and it's also referenced in our KB guidelines step by step for you to follow if you're not sure how to do that. So we're going to save and create our project. You can see here what we're supporting: source to destination, teams to teams. We migrate conversations, teams permissions, the documents, those document permissions, and then the creation of the teams on the destination. We're going to save that project. Now, the features in here are going to be similar to what you're used to be seeing in our mailbox migrations and our OneDrive document migrations, any of those across the board, and that the teams are actually going to be listed as line items. So for that piece, we actually have Auto Discover. You can bulk add via CSV or manually add if you wish to do so, but the Auto Discover feature is a really nice feature to use. You just click Auto Discover, and we're going to start the discovery process. It'll go through testing those credentials through that application permission, and then it will actually discover the items, and you'll see them trickling in here. I've already done that on another project here with the same setup. So we're going to click on the Auto Discover. You can see that it actually discovered 7 items. We're going to import those teams, and then it will list them each one by a line item. Now, something to note here with the line item listed is that we have the ability to break up. So if you're doing a merger and acquisition on a teams to teams migration and you're not migrating the whole environment, you can call out specific teams that you want to migrate rather than an all for one scenario. So that's something that's really important to note, that we can work around some of those security issues for the application permissions on not needing a global admin in the mergers and acquisitions, as well as being able to call out individual teams. You also have the ability to run multiple passes. So for example, I'm going to check a single team here, and I'm going to hit full migration. Underneath the full migration piece, you'll notice that it's actually similar to our mailbox and our document migrations, and that you can check different pieces of migrating. So here we have the ability to run the first, which is like a pre-stage pass, and it's actually just going to create the teams on the destination. So you have the ability to create the scaffolding, create those teams, and then in the full migration pass next, on the subsequent pass, you actually have the ability to hit migrate data, and then you can actually customize this. If you just want conversations or just the documents data and the teams permissions, you do have the ability to add those and check them and uncheck them, just like you have the ability to customize those in our mailbox and document projects. It's important to note that with the pre-stage approach of being able to create the scaffolding for the teams and then being able to actually migrate the document data and the permissions on separate passes gives us the ability to have better migration speeds. You can run more teams concurrently, and it's able to complete the migration in an easier, similar, simple fashion that you're used to with our other projects and workloads. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel here. Show you that you can actually just verify credentials as well. So we're just going to run through that process of what it looks like queuing. Now on my other project here, I've actually kicked off the same teams, completed a pass. You can see that it's actually migrated data and complete full. And then I'm going to show you here on the destination what it looks like when you've actually rehydrated data. So you can see it has pulled over the creation of each team, as well as the conversation history, and it's rehydrated that onto the destination all the way down to the posting time from UTC, and then those chains. Now, it is important to note that when a conversation is rehydrated on the destination, that it's going to rehydrate and post it all on one chain so that you can see each comment back and forth. And then you do have the ability to click here and actually reply. So that's important to note, that you can pick up where the conversation left off. And then the older history for the conversations, anything past a certain threshold, is actually in the conversation history tab over here. So those are all migrated and rehydrated to the destination. And this concludes our Teams migration demo for the day. Remember, if you need any help or assistance, that our help button is always here. It links you directly towards our guided tutorials such as this, as well as our help center, and then any KB articles that might be referenced. Thank you for your time today.
If you'd like to get started migrating today, please contact your preferred distributor or visit us at bittitan.com to purchase direct and start your next Teams migration.